Welcome to the third installment of this Facebook training series. In this session, we will be focusing on advertising and the range of objectives you have available to increase exposure for your club. Advertising on Facebook is very cost effective, especially when compared to other digital marketing methods, and a small budget can go a very long way. There are three main ways that you can navigate to the section that allows you to create an advert. The first is to click Advert under the Create section when you are on your own news feed. The second is to click the drop-down arrow on the top right and scroll to Create Adverts. This can be done on any page. The final option is to click the blue button underneath your navigation on your club's business page, then click Get More Website Visitors. This is the Adverts Manager dashboard, where you can choose your campaign's objective and begin the process of creating an advert. You can see that there are a range of advertising objectives you can choose for your advert. The first is traffic. This method involves sending users to a destination on or off Facebook, i.e. sending users to your website or ClubSpark address. The next is engagement, which comes in three segments. Post engagement is where you want your advert to get the most likes, shares and comments. Page likes is advertising your entire club page to increase the number of likes you have. And finally, event responses is where you promote an event to encourage more people to get involved. So now that you've selected the correct objective for you and created an advert account, you will be brought to this page where we can start to target the audience. On the right hand side, you can see an estimate of your audience size. This will change as you add or remove interests, locations, gender, etc. Underneath, you have an estimate of the daily results you'll achieve based on what we will enter further on. This area is called the advert set and includes audience, budgeting and scheduling. First of all, make sure that the traffic section is set to website or messenger. In this audience section, you have the option to create a new audience or to use a saved one. If this is your first time, remain on Create New. We recommend to keep the location set to everyone in this location to ensure you're not missing anyone out. Next, you can set your targeting location and you can also add a radius around this area. What you can also do is exclude areas that you don't want to target if the radius includes it. If you can't target a specific location by typing it into the bar, you can click the pin on the map and drop it exactly where you want. Select the minimum and maximum age you wish to target. The range is 13 to 65 plus. Add your gender and any languages you wish to target. You will notice as you change these, the audience reach on the right increases or decreases. Once you've added this information, you can now move on to targeting users based on their interests and more. Enter specific categories like tennis. There are also multiple options you can select and you can see the difference between them on the right. Once you've added your first, you will then get suggestions based on this. It's best to choose ones that have a large audience. You can add connections such as people in the above interest who also like your page. However, be aware that this will significantly narrow your audience. Once you've entered this, you can choose to save this audience should you wish to use it again in the future. It's essential to make sure that your adverts are showing where you want them to. Facebook offers to choose the placements automatically. This means they will show your advert to users who they feel will engage more across either Facebook, Instagram, the audience network, or all three. If you choose edit placements, you can control exactly where you want them to appear. If you want Facebook to control this for you, choose auto. If you want to show your adverts on just Facebook or just Instagram or both, choose edit. When you choose edit, more features are made available to you. You can select whether you want to only show your advert on mobile, desktop, or both. Although the majority of Facebook users access the site through a mobile app, we recommend to leave it on all. In the advanced options, you may want to set categories that you don't want your advert to appear on, such as certain websites. This section is where you will enter the budget you want to spend on this campaign. You have two options, daily budget and lifetime budget. You can use the daily budget in two ways. The first is to let it continually spend the set budget until you manually stop the campaign. If you choose this, be sure to keep an eye on it so you don't spend more than what you want. The second way is to set a start and end date. When your adverts have more opportunities to get results, you may spend more than your daily budget on certain days. You'll spend up to 20% more on some days and less on others to maintain an average cost for the duration of the campaign. With lifetime budget, the amount you spend per day will fluctuate over the duration of the campaign. Beware that with lifetime budget, depending on the duration you set, a minimum budget may be enforced. You'll have a summary of duration and overall total spend whenever you change these settings. You can now start designing your advert. You can choose to select an existing post on your page or create a new one. Beware that not every post will be eligible to use in an advert. To create a new advert, select the format you wish to show. The standard ad format is single image, which only uses one image within the advert, and the setup is fairly straightforward. If you scroll down to the image section, you have three options to enter the images for the advert. First, browse library. Any imagery you've already used will be in this section. Or you can click free stock images, and this will allow you to use images that everyone else has access to. Stock images have their uses, but try to use real life imagery of your club when you can. And finally, you can upload an image directly from your computer. With the single image format, you do have the choice to upload up to 6 images at a time, which will create 6 adverts within this campaign. This is useful if you want to test different imagery to see which one works better. On the right hand side of this section, you can see guides for the type of image to upload to ensure that your advert looks good across wherever you have selected it to show. The key guide in this section is the final point about text in images. Facebook is not keen on anyone using images with a lot of text for adverts. You can still create and order the advert, but the chances of Facebook rejecting it or stopping it after a certain period of time is very high. The general rule is that any image that includes over 20% text will cause issues. Now we can move on to selecting the business page for the advert. If you click the drop down under Connect Facebook page, you'll see every page you have rights to advertise on. If you've chosen to advertise on Instagram, you will also have an option to select that account as well. On the right hand side, you'll notice that you can now see an outline of how your advert will look. You can switch between desktop, mobile, and more. This is useful as you can make sure your advert is showing correctly no matter where it is being shown. The next step is to add the URL of the site you are sending them to. This will most likely be your own site or the Club Spark site if you have one. You'll notice on the preview and further down that the text areas have been filled from that URL. We have the choice to change this. When it comes to adding in text, we recommend that you switch to mobile mode. This is because the majority of Facebook users access the site via mobile. Therefore, we don't want text running off. Keep your headline short and sweet, but bold enough to catch the attention of your audience. This is the same case for your expanded text. Establish your message quickly and give them a reason to interact with you by telling them to act or ask a question. This demand is called a call to action. When you scroll down, you can see an additional call to action. This is a button at the end of your advert. There are numerous options for you to choose from. Select the one that is most relevant to your objective. You can review your entire order by clicking the grey button on the bottom right, where you can see all the information you've added and go back and change anything. When you're okay with everything, click Place Order. Another very engaging ad format is the carousel. This is where you can attach multiple images to one advert and give them individual messages and send them to different locations. On the right hand side in your preview, you can now see multiple selections called cards. Entering text into the carousel format is the same as single image, so create your message as you normally would. We can now see some options for your cards. The first being automatically show the best performing card first. Keep this on as it allows Facebook to optimize your advert for the best results. To create your card, click either image or video slideshow and add your media. You can now add a headline and a description to each card. Beware there are character limits in these areas, and send them to a different website of your choosing, such as a Club Spark page if you have one. Should you wish to add another card, simply click the addition button. The last ad format I will mention is slideshow, where you can add up to 10 images to create a looping video. Simply click the box and add in the images you wish to use. You can set the aspect ratio, the image duration, and the transition type. Now click the music tab. If you're using your own music, check to see that you are not at risk of copyright. You can also use preset ones that Facebook have provided. Once the slideshow has been created, you can select the thumbnail you want from the images you have uploaded or upload a custom one. Any steps after this are very similar to the previous ad formats. The next objective we're going to look at is engagement, which is split into 3 segments. The first is post engagement, meaning likes, shares, and comments. The setup for this objective is very similar to the one before in regards to audience, budget, etc. The main difference in this section is how you create the actual advert. At the top, you have the option to use an existing post from your club page. You can't use an image that has too much text. You may even need to create the post again from scratch. Again, similar to before, choose the account you wish to advertise on. Now, select the post from the drop-down menu, and the preview on the right will update to reflect that. If you want to create this from scratch, Click Create New Advert. Select your ad format, add in your imagery, and choose your colour page. Notice that the only modifications you need to do here is to add your text. Now we are going to move on to page likes. In this area, if you have access to more than one business page, you'll need to select your page at the top of this section. The main difference here is the audience. Notice that exclude people who like your page has been activated. This is because there is little point in showing your page likes advert to users who already like it. The only difference in the design of the advert is setting where you want to send people when they click it. You have the choice of sending them to your home page, sending them to your photos on your page, or sending them to the events on your page. Lastly, in this engagement objective is event responses. The only difference here is that you need to select the event from your desired club page you wish to promote and add additional text. Using the video objective is quick and painless, as it involves uploading a video that meets the majority of the recommendations on the right hand side. The 20% text rule still applies in this video objective. Once you've uploaded the video, similar to the slideshow, you can select or upload a custom thumbnail. We are now in your Adverts Manager account dashboard. This is where you can see details and results for any advert that you have promoted on this advert account. For a more detailed view, you can simply click which campaign you want to know more about. Once you've clicked this, you'll notice that the tab at the top has changed. We have moved from campaigns to advert sets. To understand how your campaign is performing, you need a knowledge of what these columns mean. The first column is your advert set name. This is simply the name that you chose when you created the advert. The next is delivery. This means, is your advert running? Has it completed or has it been stopped by Facebook? The results column depends on which advertising objective you chose. This is a traffic campaign, meaning that we were optimizing for link clicks. The next column is reach. This is how many people saw your advert. This is a percentage that is calculated by dividing the number of results by the impressions you receive. An important metric here is the cost per result, otherwise known as cost per click. As we can see, every time someone clicked our advert, we were charged 42 pence. Your budget, which remember depends on your duration, is how much you set for this campaign. Amount spent, as you can see, is slightly below the budget. Finally, next to this, we have the schedule, which is just an overview of how long your advert ran for. Another feature to mention in this area is here. You can see that the columns are set to default. If you click into these, you can see preset segments for each objective. Of course, depending on your advert, you may not see any data if you choose a different segment. What you may choose to do is create your own columns. By doing this, you can make sure that you're only seeing data that is relevant and interesting to you. Next to this columns feature, you have breakdown. This is very useful if you want to see specific data about your campaign. For example, if we click into gender, you can see an individual breakdown for these columns divided into female, male, or unknown. There are a range of options you have in this breakdown area. This is especially useful if you want to know exactly who is interacting with you, meaning that for the next campaign you run, you have a more targeted audience and therefore can increase results. If you wish to pause your campaign, or if you wish to pause your advert set, simply click the switch next to that name. If you wish to export the data for your campaign, simply click Export and select which format you want to download it in. If the data you want to export includes breakdowns, then you will need to select those breakdowns before you click Export. In order to preview your ad or see how it looks visually, you will need to be in the Adverts tab, which is next to the Advert set. What you need to do is click this area and select Preview. You can see how your advert looks on the formats and placements that you selected when you created the advert. If you click this button, you have the option to view your advert on certain areas of Facebook. This is useful as you can then respond to comments or see directly who has shared and liked your posts. If there is ever a time where you need to edit your advert, click the pencil icon. In this area, you can see a field for any adjustments that you need to make. Once you're happy with your changes, just click Save and Close. Once you've done this, Facebook will review your campaign again, and if everything is alright with it, Facebook will approve it. By clicking the clock icon, you can see an activity history for your campaign. You can see any changes that were made by either yourself or Facebook. If you want to see a visual representation of the data for your advert, you can click this little arrow, which will bring up a chart which visually shows your data. At the top, it is split into performance, demographics and placement. If we go into demographics, we can see the women to male interaction split. You can also see the age split for this. If you go into placement, you can see where your advert is best performing. You can click these drop downs to see an individual unique result for that. On the right hand side of this section, you can see a title, device type. If you click into this, you'll be able to see how your advert is performing on mobile, desktop or both. Thank you for watching these Facebook training videos. The LTA Midlands, along with myself, hope that we've provided you with enough information to confidently promote your club on Facebook. We will be around for extra support should you need it. This information will be provided in the information packet attached with these videos.